America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents.
This episode of Invent America TV is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King's Broadcasting Network and has been bringing to you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998. This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
And thank you so much for being with us for this episode of Invent America, because America invents. We love solving problems out there for consumers and just making products better. This segment is brought to you by Product Quick Start. Noah McNeely does so many wonderful, amazing prototypes and then sets up manufacturing for inventors across this country. So if you've got something out there that you're working on, Noah McNeely and Product Quick Start is where you want to go for help. So my guest today is one funny writer, and we know him as Tony, the nose tea guy, and he has got this product out there that is literally changing the world. Right, Tony?
Absolutely. It's changed my life.
Well, there you go. All right. So tell everyone, what is the nose tea?
The nose tea is a device that I came up with while experiencing a nosebleed some 17, 18 years ago. And I discovered how to stop it in a matter of seconds. I suffered from nosebleeds as a child, as many people have. And once I discovered this process and my nosebleed stopped like in a matter of 5 or 6 seconds, I'm thinking, boy, this needs to be out there. I wished I'd had this when I was a kid. And so I began, processing and trying to figure out, candidates to use it on. And I told people I couldn't just walk up and punch somebody in the nose and say, here, try this prototype and see if it works. We had to wait till somebody had a nosebleed, but it took several years and we come up with the design, and I feel like it's perfect, and it stops nosebleeds in seconds. Has for me and has for lots of people.
Well, as a little girl, I would sleep with my sister and wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and the pillow was covered in blood, and I did not punch her in the nose, but she was one of those that had nosebleeds on a regular basis. And, you're right. It's funny. We talked about, taking you, showing people, say, oh, try this. Come here, let me punch you in the nose. And it doesn't really work like that. You can't demo it.
No, you can't do that.
So what is the science, Tony?
The science behind the nose tea is it applies pressure to a part of the area behind the nose called the littles area. I about became an ear, nose, and throat doctor developing this thing, but it was necessary that I learned a lot about the littles area and what's called the palatine artery. And the palatine artery is what feeds blood to the nose and to the nostrils. And so what I did was developed a product that actually puts pressure. It goes under your front lip, between your lip and your gum, not in your mouth, but in between, under the lip. And when you curl your lip or push it up, that's what puts the pressure on the palatine artery, and that's what shuts the blood flow off. So it's natural, it's safe, there's no chemicals, there's no stuffing, unmentionables up your nose to stop it from bleeding and embarrassing yourself. So it's definitely not only changed my life, as I said, but it's changed a lot of people's lives.
Well, when you start talking about that, I mean, you go to a soccer game. My grandson got, the ball hit him in the face. And, of course, he drops to the ground, and, the next thing is he's got a nosebleed. But, it doesn't matter if it's, kids on a soccer game, kids that have, are susceptible to that, or a professional basketball player who gets hit in having your nose stuffed with cotton so that you can't breathe out of your nose, which is, by the way, where you're supposed to breathe from. It makes a lot more sense to just put it under your lip and not interfere with your breathing, right?
Absolutely. And that's one of the advantages that the nose tea has over pinching products and stuffing products and things like that, because it's all natural. It doesn't interfere anyway in the breathing part of the person, so they can continue to breathe without obstruction and ultimately accomplish what they're looking to do, and that's stop their nose from bleeding.
Absolutely. And quickly. When you stuff a bunch of stuff up your nose, you have no idea whether it's stopped or not until you pull the cotton out of your nose and, oh, yeah, it's still bleeding. So that's,
Well, one
yeah.
of the things that the nose tea does, it's, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. We're looking for your story.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. One of the things the nose tea does, it stops the blood flow. It's not slowing it. It's not absorbing the blood. It's shutting it off like a spigot. And that's what gives it the advantage that it has over other products, because as you point out, you can shove cotton, you can shove toilet tissue, you can shove a lot of things up there. And these have been remedies over the years that I've had to use. I've never used the tampon thing, but I did
I hope
use
not.
toilet paper. Yeah, I didn't think they went there. So, but I did use the toilet paper, and I did use paper towels and things like that, and anything I could hold my nose. But this, once the nosebleed starts, the palatine artery is in play, and if you put it up under the lip, curl the lip, it just stops the blood flow in just a matter of seconds.
It's amazing. So you did do some manufacturing and sold some. So how did you go through that? You filed some intellectual property, you filed a patent. Tell us kind of those early first steps that you went besides punching somebody in the nose.
Well, it was an arduous process. I'll tell you this. I've been inventing things since I was a kid. I remember telling my dad riding down the road, I said, if in police cars that hide that bubble, they catch more crooks. Well, I was inventing unmarked police cars and didn't know it. At 17, I actually thought of the water pick process that later came out a few years later. I invented something called the chip clip when I was 20, and it just went on potato chip bags, and somebody stole that from me. So I've been inventing things pretty much all my life, and I still have a bunch of inventions if you got any investors out there interested. So we can get them to the market. But I've always been inventing things and being very creative. And so, but I was sort of naive as to the whole process. So when I invented the nose tea, I actually went to a friend of mine and said, look, invented this device. He knew about it. I said, if you'll loan me $10,000, I believe I could get it to the market. Well, that's how naive I was. I had no idea the expense involved. And I kind of laugh about it now. But when I called to get a mold, somebody said, you got to have a mold to make these. I said, okay. So I called. The first price I got on a mold was over $7,000. And I'm like, that don't leave me much money to get it to the market. So
Nope.
then, of course, I had to go through other channels for investors, and I raised some capital, and I started manufacturing and started distribution and sold. Ten. I can't remember how many thousands we've sold, and of course, we gave some away. I started doing trade shows, and had very good positive results. Here's one thing that I don't think a lot of companies can claim, but I have never received a jar of nose teas back for a refund out of the years I've been just, selling these. So that tells you something.
It tells me that they work. And
Yes.
my daughter was thrilled to get some so that she could take them with her when she goes to those 9-year-old soccer games. So no matter who gets knocked down in the field, she can say, here, try this quick. It's going to work quick. But
Yeah.
when you go
Yeah.
out, then
My daughter was one of my, oh, excuse me. I was going
no,
to
I
say
was just
my
going to say,
daughter was one of my projects because she, like me, had nosebleeds quite a bit and had two in one night and sent me a text that Dad worked both times. I said, well, there we go. And my son worked in a restaurant, and those kids in there would have nosebleeds, and a car dealership owner gave him some, and somebody on the floor, customer had one, stopped it instantly. So I got all of these testimonies, and I actually I thought, designed the right structure and dimensions and everything, and it's material, and it's worked out great.
So for our listeners that might have to go when we take this break, where would they go and find the nose tea now? Because I know there's still some inventory as you're moving into your next phase. And I know that they can go and get them online.
Yes, the Nose T, and that's THENOSE, and the letter T. TheNoseT.com is one place they can be purchased, and also Walmart.com is carrying them now. So
Excellent.
I actually sold on Amazon for a while, but I just didn't like Amazon. I didn't like the profits, most of it going to them and the way they were, handling things. So I did that for about a year, sold several thousand on there, but I just didn't like the way Amazon was
Yeah.
doing me. So I quit
Well,
dealing with
we're
Amazon.
going to talk about the next steps when we come back. Right now, we're going to go and pay some bills. So a big thank you and shout out to King's Broadcasting Network for making sure that this all happens. Stick with us, everybody. We'll be right back.
This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America loves to invent. This segment is brought to you by RPB Law Offices. RPB Law Offices has been bringing corporate level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all of your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com. And my guest for this segment is the same guest I had in the last segment, Tony, the Nose Tea Man, one funny writer. And Tony, thanks so much for being with us. And, as you're moving kind of now into the next step. So you got teed up, and now what? What's going on now?
Well, I'm working with a company called Pronto Launch, and actually found out about them through your show. And I'm just excited to be working with Mike and the gang at Pronto Launch, and things have been going real well. They have jumped on the nose tea and started marketing it and getting it out there to places that I just never would have even thought of or even attempted to reach out to. So they're doing a fantastic job, and we're in an agreement with them right now. And we're looking to not only take it across the United States but globally.
So, when you walked out the door with this and said, oh, yeah, let me start reaching out, besides, just seeing people on, a car dealership that's got a bloody nose, how'd you do it? How'd you start getting it out there?
Well, I think, the internet was a big help. I recorded a video of me making my nose bleed because, like I said, I couldn't just walk up and punch somebody. So I had to do 2 demos myself, and you don't want to know how I did it. But
I was
anyway,
just gonna say, what, you walked into a wall or something?
no, people ask me all the time, so how'd you make your nose bleed? I said, you don't want to know. But I did make it bleed, and then I used the nose tea as a product demonstration video, and that helped. The trade shows were a big help. I actually had um, a lot of exposure at trade shows, even global exposure. I went to a national trade show in Miami and had people from South America, Egypt, China, uh, Pakistan, and they were taking the nose teas back with them. So I know there's a demand for this, not only locally or in the United States, but globally, because, I never got any of those back either. So, as I said in the previous segment, never had a jar returned back to me for a refund.
When I went out at one point, I'm thinking, how many nosebleeds can there be a year? Because, we were starting to, then talk about how, different places we could go, and,
Mhm.
the feedback we were starting to get, and everybody's going, holy cow, this is new science. When you're not shoving something that resembles a product that should go somewhere else up your nose, that's a good thing. And,
Yes.
and then instead of just absorbing the blood, you're actually stopping the bleeding. This is cool. But how many nosebleeds are there a year? When I found out that there
I
were
actually
over,
have that information. I actually
I was
have
just
that
going to,
information.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
I
share it
paid
with everybody.
$8,000 for that study and found out how many they are. If
How
somebody wants to
many?
pay me 8,000, I'll tell them.
Oh, no, no, no. All right. I went out and looked it up. 60 million nosebleeds a year. Can you believe
Yeah.
it?
Yes. Yeah. You
It's
did that without having to pay.
I did. I did. It's called AI,
Yeah, I
and
know it. The
I'm
AI
really
wasn't around when
sorry,
I did
Tony,
mine.
that really sorry that I didn't pay the 8,000, or send you a check to say, okay, this is how many nosebleeds are out there every year. And when you come up with looking at the idea, 60 million nosebleeds a year, and they're shoving stuff up their nose. Holy cow! All right, it makes such a difference now when you can do it scientifically, where it makes sense.
Yep. And naturally too. There's no evasive procedure, up the nose. You can breathe, as you pointed out in the previous segment, and use the nose T without, shutting off your airwaves.
So when you look at then, this impact that could really change some of the medical science that's out there, how does it make you feel?
Oh man, I tell you, I feel blessed. I actually have a story of how, I was in a bathroom at a church and was having a nosebleed, and this little short gentleman walked out of a stall. And he's the one that come up and told me how to do this and stop my nosebleed. And he walked out. I've never seen him since. So I'm not saying he was an angel, but I'm not saying he's not, because I don't know. But he is the one who showed me how to do this and walked out, never saw him again. And I think it was divine, discovery. I mean, people can have their own opinion, but I feel like this is a very divine interaction that I had, and it worked, and rest is history.
So he's the one that told you where the blood is coming from, and that pressure on that spot would
Yes.
stop it. And so
Yes.
what, you stuck your finger up there under your lip and it's like, holy cow?
Not exactly. So without giving away any marketing or product secrets, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. So what do you want to share with other inventors out there?
Well, I tell you, having, encountered what I did, the opposition and the obstacles, motivating yourself was probably the hardest thing, believing in the product. And that was one of the things that I wrestled with, and it kind of held me back for a little while. And so if an inventor out there has a product or an idea, do your research, do your homework, make sure there's nothing else out there like it, and then go for it. I've seen a lot of inventions that have been, put on the market recently, and I'm thinking, wow, that's a great idea. Wished I'd have thought of it. So if you've thought of something, hey, you know, pursue it. And one thing is connect with the right people, because the right people can either make you or break you.
That's for sure. I mean, we see a lot of predators in the inventing industry. And I know the goal at Pronto Launch is to help inventors as much as possible avoid the predators, because it doesn't matter how expensive the suit is, the shark will still eat you, right?
Oh yeah. And I've been scammed. I mean, I've had people lead me on and then wind up that, it was a dead end, and, paid money for things that I thought was going to work, and they didn't, because the companies were not what I would say top notch or credible. So,
So,
but as you
well,
said, I've been
yeah.
working with Pronto Launch, and I've been very happy.
Well, I am so glad that you were with us today, and Pronto Launch is my next guest coming up. So everybody
Great.
stick with us, and we're going to hear from the industry expert in just a few seconds. Right now, we're going to run and pay some bills. If you're an inventor, or you know an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. inventorsroundtable.org. Thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because we love to invent. My guest for this segment is Mike Ryan. He is the CEO and president of pronto launch that is helping inventors get from, I'm selling a few of these to selling everywhere. So Mike, thanks so much for being with us today. We are grateful.
Thank you
Tell
for
us,
having me.
what is pronto launch?
Pronto Launch it's one of a kind sales platform. It transforms products that people are interested in excelling, scaling, selling it, marketing, shipping it. We could take products to from the infancy stage to existing companies and take it to levels that they normally can't do on their own.
Well, it's exciting because, we had a response over the weekend from a guy who says, no, slow and steady wins the race. It's like, not in the inventing world. Slow and steady loses the race. You don't want to be the turtle. You want to make sure that you're getting your product out there into the marketplace. Why is leverage so important?
In fact, your earlier guest, Tony, was talking about it. It all comes down to contacts. And the one best way to have contacts and leveraging is through when we work with a company in the medical field. When they know Pronto Launch, we're coming with 3, 4, 5 products, and we're just not like a one item company. So we can get in, open doors that normally most people can't open because of that leverage.
It's really interesting that, when I first met Tony and we had him on the radio show and got to visit and find out what it was about. I'm thinking, okay, this sounds like a really good product for Pronto Launch. And, that was only a few months ago. So we went from, he was selling, a few here and a few there to you're looking at now a worldwide business plan for the nose tee. How does that work?
Well, first of all, I've been in the business a long time. At the end of the day, it comes down to selling. You can have the world's greatest product. A lot of people there's a lot of great products out there, never went anywhere because A, they don't have the contacts, B, they don't have the resources, and they don't have the infrastructure to scale it. And it's a shame. And that's one reason why Pronto Launch existed. One of my companies I had started with a company in the original safety siphon. It involves one of the nose tee product. I have a client in South America. We do a lot of business with my other businesses. That guy owns companies. They do business in Suriname, Brazil, Argentina, Chile. They have there are several companies we work with, and what they do essentially is that they are in the pharmacy industry. They are in the they have products stores like here in the United States. People from over Dick's Sporting Goods, Bass Pro Shops. There's stores like that down there. So they're buying some of my other products. And I said to them, oh, by the way, we have another product we added to where we already added and shared with them about nose tee. If a person's a hunter, a fisherman, all that, sooner or later, it's inevitable. People in sports, contact sports, anyone involved in the contact sports should have a nose tee. So I shared it with him. He loved the idea, sent it to him. And soon we're going to have the product in, hopefully, throughout South America, in addition to the United States.
It's funny because, you think, all right, the nose tee, you stop nosebleeds and you stop nosebleeds, on a sports field with kids, you stop at, sandboxes, whatever, playgrounds, certainly in the professional sports, all of that kind of stuff, hospitals and everything. You don't always think of it as being at Dick's Sporting Good in multiple areas.
Yeah. Essentially anyone who's, has a medical kit, safety kit, first aid kit, everyone who has a first aid kit should have one of these in there. Anyone who's hospital, any of the contact sports. We're working with trainers. We're working with athletes. We're working with people in retirement communities, nursing homes. Everyone, unfortunately, as you said earlier, there are millions and millions of people that suffer from nosebleeds every day. And unfortunately, up until now, it's been a problem in the industry.
Well, we were talking about the fact that, the basic numbers were over 60 million in the US, but it was like 300 billion internationally.
Yep.
What was that number? It was absolutely blows you away internationally how many nosebleeds there are every year.
There are over 8 billion people on Earth, and 60% of those at some point in their life is going to have a nosebleed.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, the numbers for this product, it's almost scary, and what the numbers can be for this product. But it's really then that ability to, go out and leverage the contacts that gives you access to all of that.
Yeah, we're currently working with professional teams. We work with net trainers. When you get into the training industry, for instance, and we've all seen it. We watch TV. I watch sports. I'm a big Boston Celtics fan. I played high school. I played college sports. It's amazing how many times you got teams that are, these sports industries, billions of dollars, they're paying these owner are paying these players millions of dollars. It could be happened to us at Pittsburgh Steelers recently. The quarterback missed the whole series because they couldn't stop his nose bleeding. Instead of sitting there, if they had a nose tee, the guy would have missed maybe a play or two. All right. So what they did was they went there, couldn't stop the nosebleed, and the next thing you know, how many times we've seen it where players go back on the field, and they put cotton balls or whatever their nose, both nostrils, and then on top of that, they're wearing a mouth guard.
Yeah.
They're paying these guys millions. How do you perform at a peak level when you can't breathe properly? And that's what we're dealing with. And so what we want to do is we want to incorporate the nose tee is a game changer. Obviously we're a little biased here. There's not a product. There's not anything in the country that even comes close to the nose tree. I've yet to find someone who did a side-by-side comparison from currently what's on the market right now versus what nose tee has to offer. There's not a product out in the world that can stop a nosebleed without either clamping your nose, pinching your nose, or stuffing your nose. So we take that idea. Nose tee makes us look good, quite frankly, because we take a phenomenal world-class product that's truly a game changer, which is often used and overused in this industry. There's nothing like it on the market. We tapped it into our contacts right now, and very quickly, people are going to see worldwide. Our goal is to have these and do business literally worldwide with people using nose tee as part of their nosebleed management.
It's amazing because we've talked about, there's a difference between the educating on the different science involved rather than just promoting and doing marketing material for the product. So, I would like to get a little bit more into, what you're doing then with the nose tee when we get back. We're going to need to go and take a break, everybody, pay some bills. We'll be right back with Mike Ryan. In the meantime, if you know anybody out there who's got an invention trying to get to market, please have them get in touch. We do the Inventor Roundtable meetings twice a month where we can answer questions. It doesn't cost anything to go to the meetings. We have people from Florida to California. And sometimes the best information that you get is from the inventor sitting next to you, even if it is virtually on a screen. So, and then we help you do the search and get it teed up. Do you really have something, or is there just not worth the risk? Or, you know what, get this thing teed up and no pun intended, tee it up and then be able to get to pronto launch so that we can see if there's another nose tee out there for you. So we've got a lot of resources. The big thing with Invent America is that we are looking at helping you become more educated on options and how you get your product out there, and then being able to give everybody, your website. So if you know somebody who's got a new product and you want to be on the radio, by all means, have them get in touch. It doesn't cost anything to be on the radio. And we go out over coast to coast every weekend. We would love to have you join us. So be with us, everybody. We will be right back to finish up with Mike Ryan and the nose tee and how we're changing that science.
TrueUp, easiest way to hang your pictures. We all know how stressful picture hanging can get. TrueUp comes with everything you need to level and hang pictures with no damage and no mess. Just peel, apply the adhesive to the back of the TrueUp mount and press firmly. Remove the remaining adhesive. Use the level and press and hold for 3 to 5 seconds to attach the TrueUp mount to your wall with a strong hold. The TrueUp frame adapter is compatible with most frames on the market. Apply the adhesive strip to the adapter, stick, and your frame hangs easily on the wall mount. This lets you adjust your picture side to side for perfect placement every time. The possibilities are limitless, and it's easy on your walls. Picture hanging can be truly a one-person job. TrueUp, the future of hanging is here.
Thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America loves to invent. We love to see our products get out there, and we love to be able to help them grow up and become big, and leave home. So, and my guest for this segment is Mike Ryan, President and CEO of Pronto Launch. And we love to take new products to Pronto Launch and have them make them not just a national product, but the potential for an international product. And with this one in particular, with the nose tee, we have a unique opportunity to change the way the medical industry thinks of stopping nosebleeds. So, Mike, tell us a little bit more about that new protocol.
Well, with product launch, what caught us was so excited by it, Nose T, is that I've had so many times myself as an athlete. I can't tell you how many times I played sports and my nose was stuffed, and it's a problem. It's hard to breathe. So from an athletic standpoint, we had 2 grandkids that had their nose bleed, and it's a problem. We do a lot of business in the retirement community. It's devastating whenever you see someone their nose bleeding, you can't stop it. And then all of a sudden the nose tee came along, and it truly, I felt, is one of the best products that came out on the market in a long time. It truly is going to change how people perceive nosebleed management. Up until this point, so many times people are stuffing their nose and they're trying to get it to stop, and it's dangerous. I had a daughter-in-law, granddaughter. She was bleeding so much that she actually had her head back, and the blood actually was going down her throat. And it's dangerous. The nose tee solves that problem, and now we can go to organizations and say to them is that the way they've been doing it at this point, it's a problem. Every trainer, every organization, hospitals, they know it's been a problem up to this point. Holding a person's nose for 5 or 6 seconds, having someone to sit there and try to get it to stop, it's nerve-wracking. We had a case, I just recently had a meeting with a person last week in the retirement community. They're sitting there, nosebleed. It's nerve-wracking to the person who's going through it. Plus, it's also for the families who are seeing this. So all of a sudden, nosebleed can, by just sitting there, putting in their upper lip, without having to stuff the nose, and to be able to stop that is totally changing how we do that. So part of it, our goal is to totally make it part of our what we call the nosebleed management system. We're working with trainers literally worldwide that we're saying to them, instead of having your players stuff their nose and so forth, use this as a much efficient, faster way of doing it. They can get back on the court faster. They can get on the field faster. There's no reason why they should be using old method anymore now that nose tee is in existence.
Well, and it's really presenting a new science to them or a new protocol to them, as opposed to selling a product. You're looking at really changing the way they think about dealing with a nosebleed.
Well, up to this point, they had no other way of doing it. Up to this point, there was only 2 ways. Pinching their nose. Some people clamp their nose. Other people stick cotton balls over the ears. Other people put a tampon type product up their nose. I'm not sure how many people would enjoy doing any of the above. And all of a sudden, nose tee comes out on the market and totally, truly generates on how you do nosebleed management. To be able to stop a nosebleed without having to pack your nose, without clamping your nose, or stick a cotton ball or a tampon looking product up your nose to the point now that you just put it in the inner upper lip. Every person in the country who has a nosebleed, if they did a side-by-side comparison, I'm a little biased here, but that's why I got involved. I don't believe there's a product in the world that comes even close from a scientific standpoint. From just try it. I share people. Just do it. Use your current method. Try the nose tee side by side, and you'll come up with your own conclusion that it's the best way to go.
So what are you looking, when you look at this, people can take forever to get a product out nationally, let alone internationally. What's the time frame that you're looking at for getting this product to be now into everything, but in many, many countries?
Well, with a product like nose tee and the context we have right now, we're expecting immediate results. We're talking, we have major programs we're going right now. Daily, we're expecting orders immediately. A product like that, the original product launch has contacts. We can get products in there quickly, and we don't have to sit there and we have networks where people are actually already in it. We have contacts with decision makers. We're not sitting here just making cold calls. We know people who have a history with us. They know that we say what we mean and do what we say. We can fill orders. We can process orders. So we have the wherewithal, the infrastructure, and you need leveraging to be able to get things up and running very, very quickly. Once the product's in stock, we can get orders for them in days, weeks.
Well, it's so funny because this is a product that could be literally everywhere, from a basic Dollar General to on the NFL, field during a football game. It is something that, everybody and anybody is going to want.
Yes. Anyone who is currently, as I always tell people, if you have a nose, you should have a nose tee.
There you go. I like that. All right. Everybody out there, if you've got a nose or you know someone who does, you should have a nose tee in your medical kit, in your bathroom. And moms, you need them in your purse. They don't take up much room. But tell you what, you got that little kid out there on the field. He's going to be a lot happier if his nose isn't bleeding everywhere. So, Mike, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. You are wonderful to have on. And Tony, our one funny writer, inventor of the nose tee. It's been wonderful, gentlemen. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.